What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. We are continuing our god roll grind for these gods for y'all with a sudden death, the shotgun from the prophecy dungeon within the second encounter in the cube room right here. You can farm it when that is the dungeon of the week, but it'll drop from that second encounter. Easily farmable when it is out, but it is a void shotgun now instead of the arc version that was before. So we got lots of new rolls on this that really tailor towards that synergy inside of the void subclass. Plus it does also have some pretty good rolls for the PvP side of things as well, so we are going to go over both of these god rolls. And before we get into the god rolls, we're going to cover the origin trait, which is crossing over. As I've said in my other prophecy videos, with this origin trait, having the weapon with increased range and handling for the top half of the magazine, as well as extra damage on the bottom half, is very good inside of the Crucible, in my opinion. Definitely better than the PvE realm, but it still does help in certain situations within the PvE side of the game. So it is a very good origin trait in my personal opinion. So starting us off for the weapon mod as well as the masterwork, I would go with major spec or boss spec on this. Definitely a very good juice to that 8% damage to either if you're using major spec, those orange bar combatants as champions, mini bosses as well, and then obviously the yellow bars for boss spec. As for the masterwork, going with that reload speed for the PvE realm, just love it because it's at 42 with how we have it set out. Very juicy in my opinion, especially since it's one of those high hitting, high recoil frames. Once it gets going, we're shooting ammo very quickly, so the reload is super nice. Barrel options for PvE, we got two of them. Small bore is the first one, gives us that stability and range increase. Like I said, when we get the defeats with this, because of its frame, it's going to shoot a little bit faster, so that stability does come in handy. Since this is a high aggressive frame, it'll have a good amount of recoil on it. The second option for PvE right here is corkscrew rifling. Gives us a little bit the jack of all trades perk, as I call it, with stability, range, and handling. Just is a good addition, or second option I should say, to small bore, but I would definitely go with small bore. As for the magazine, we got two options. Again, very good magazines in my opinion. First off, we got assault mag right here with increase in stability, as well as giving us that increased fire rate as well. So it goes super fast with the firing rate because of this perk, as well as being that aggressive frame that we have. So this is a very fun little magazine to have on it. Turns it into an absolute just laser beam, and it feels like you're just dropping your entire clip in an instant. The second option for magazines is tactical mag right here. Gives us an increase in our magazine size, our reload speed, as well as stability. So I personally like this overall compared to assault mag, but assault mag is very fun for that super fast, quick firing rate, just annihilating enemies. But tactical mag overall works the best in multiple situations. Now for the third column, we got two different choices in my opinion. First off, we got repulsor brace right here. Defeating void debuff targets grants us an overshield, grants 45 HP overshield for 8 seconds. So this is where that void synergy starts to come in. Very good with the pairing in the fourth column with one of the perks that we have in that, which we will cover in a second. But if you're playing on a void subclass, your Guy Falcon's Hunter, something like that, is a very good pairing with repulsor brace right here. The other option, and maybe the overall all-around choice if you will, is envious assassin. Defeating targets with other weapons before drawing this one transfers ammo to the magazine from the reserves, so it basically overflows the weapon based on the number of targets defeated beforehand. So it is a interesting little perk to have on because it pairs with any subclass, not just specifically our void subclass, kind of like repulsor brace does. But even with repulsor brace, we do have an option, like I said, in the 4th column that helps that to be on any subclass. But envious right here definitely allows you to play anything without worry. The 4th column perk that I'm talking about was destabilizing rounds right here. Final blows causes targets to become volatile, so that pairing with repulsor brace allows the freedom to move off of the void subclass, so you can just use this weapon to have kind of an internal feedback loop of getting those volatile enemies to spawn on those defeats, and then with the other defeats of those volatile targets, repulsor brace will proc where you get that overshield. So the void synergy of that in itself is very, very good, and on top of that, if you pair it with your void subclass, it is just even better in the S tier category. Now, I know that this did get a little bit of a nerf, but our second option is 1-2 punch right here. So hitting enemies with every pellet in the shot increases melee damage. You can see right there, 200% increase to normal damage on melees, 350 against those bosses and vehicles. So nice little addition there. If you're wearing the Liar's Handshakes, you get 80% melee increase of that. So it is a good little perk. It, like I said, did get the nerf, but it is a good addition to this 4th column. Now, I think I would go with destabilizing with repulsor brace or destabilizing with envious assassin, but this is a very close second in my opinion for this category with trench barrel. After successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage, handling, and reload for a short period of time, which will be nice because of how fast this weapon will shoot with that assault mag, as well as being that aggressive frame. But you can see we get that additional 50% damage increase, 30 handling, and a little bit of reload speed. So it adds to this weapon's kind of intrinsic traits, if you will, with that origin trait, as well as its frame plays perfectly with this weapon. So something like Envious Assassin with Trench Peril is a S tier combination in my opinion. So we have lots of different options here for the PvE realm. Now, when we move on to the PvP side of things, not as many options in my opinion, but with this being that aggressive frame and doing some hard-hitting damage, it feels very good inside of the Crucible, especially with the couple options that we have in the 3rd column. Really kind of juice it out for the Crucible in my personal opinion. One of my favorite perks for shotguns is in that 3rd column, so we'll get right into it. For the weapon mod, I would go with Quick Access Sling. Just gives us that increase intrinsically basically to handling. We're able to have the weapon ready and stow speed increase, so feels very, very crispy inside of the Crucible. Switch on and off of this with your hand cannon, SMG, whatever you're using. As for the masterwork, going with range, we want to maximize our range with this build, or with this weapon I should say. So that is why we are having that nice range masterwork on this, as well as you will see in the weapon perks, just stacking out our range to the max. For barrels, I personally would only choose small bore. Right here gives us that increase in stability just a little bit, not that we need it, but we do get +7 to range, which is super nice to juice it out to 51. Feels like it hits from a very good distance. Now, there is another option that I know some people are going to suggest, but I don't like it because of that projectile spread. So smoothbore right here is giving us +15 to range, which only puts us at 59 instead of 51, but I just feel like I'm not one-shotting people nearly as much with smoothbore. Even though it gives us that 8 extra range, it just doesn't feel nearly as good as small bore in my personal opinion. In the 2nd column right here for our magazine, definitely would only go with accurized rounds. Gives us that +10 to range, so it allows us to have that 51 like I was talking about before with small bore, and this just feels like a match made in heaven. Now, my favorite perk that I was talking about on shotguns for the 3rd column right here is Slide Shot. Sliding partially reloads the magazine and boosts range and stability. So when it lasts for about 3 seconds, you get 15% of the magazine, plus you get 20 to range and 30 on stability. So when we get slide shot to activate, we get our range to go up all the way to 71, which is absolutely nasty on a shotgun, which is especially true when it's an aggressive frame like a sudden death is. The other option that we could go with is threat detector, so we get increased reload stability and handling when we're in close proximity to enemies, more for the stability and handling on this weapon. So it has two different stacks. When we're near one enemy versus two, we get that increase. You can see these stats below, roughly 40 stability when we're near two enemies, only 15 when we're near one, but that handling, the animation duration goes down by almost half, so it is very quick when we pull this weapon out and threat detector is procced. Now, the king of traits right here, in my opinion, for the fourth column for PvP is opening shot. We get that improved accuracy and range on the opening shot and of attack. So when we pair this with slide shot, get them both to proc, we're getting an additional 25 range, 20 aim assist on this. So we go from 71 all the way up to 96 range on this when you have the combination of a small bore with accurized rounds, slide shot, and opening shot. You are juicing guardians from so far away, and you're hitting them very hard with that 80 impact, this being an aggressive frame. I personally love that. Is my god roll. 5 out of 5 easily is a slide shot with opening, but you could have the option of threat detector like I said in that third column, but definitely would have opening shot as our only option for the fourth column. So kind of like I said, not as many roles in the PvP side of things, but for PvE we had a bunch of different roles. Would definitely give it about the same in each category in rating, giving it about a 4.4 out of 5 for both PvE, PvP, just because it does have very good roles, even though it might not be a lot of them. For PvP, with the combination of the roles we have, the origin trait and the frame, you can map guardians almost 100 range on the weapon. And then in the PvE side of things, we got the void synergy oversealed of destabilizing rounds with repulsor brace as well as envious assassins. So lots of different options for this weapon. Hopefully y'all can get to grinding. I'm going to try to do some helps when prophecies back out and farmable, but definitely hopefully y'all have got to get in there so far and get some rolls of your own. I appreciate all y'all for coming by, supporting the channel. Means a lot. Don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe button, really helps out the channel, and smack that bell if you would like so you get notifications when we post these god rolls, builds, the guides, stuff like that for Pal World, Destiny, everything. So I appreciate all you guys again for that support. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.